Hello guys. I wanted to make a short YouTube video about this stuff that I discussed in the Vidoc yesterday. It's not gonna be a 40 minutes video again. I'll try actually to be quick this time. Anyways, this particular section of the Vidoc, in my opinion, was very important and pretty interesting. There are like plenty of things to talk about since those are all things that strongly impact the game. And so yeah, I figured it would be nice to like give my take on them. Uh, they showed a bunch of things in the Vidoc. They also showed the Renegades. Uh, I should say the stream actually. The Vidoc was about Renegades. It was pretty cool, you know, Star Wars themed. The lightsabers looked cool. And then we had this other section where they showed a bit of Ashen Iron and they talked about those changes to the game uh, for Renegades and forward. So let's start from the top. I think the most important stuff is towards the bottom, but let's start from the top. First of all, now all exotic weapons and armor are gonna become featured, which essentially, you know, if everything is featured, nothing is featured, right? It's like, I think that's a good change because I think the featured system is a bad system. The system should just go. So I'd rather everything be featured than, you know, all these certain things. Like essentially, you're just removing the system for exotics, which is good, I suppose. Uh, you know, they've already changed the bonus, for example, on weapons from 15 to like 10% on launch. Now it's gonna be 5%, and it's like they keep lowering the bonus because it's a bad system. So like they're noticing that it's a bad system, and they're like lowering the effectiveness of the system. And it's like the solution here is clearly to just get rid of the system. Like basically no one likes it. It's all an annoyance, and yeah, I mean, so good that they're doing this because like it had issues the way it was. Like no one picked an exotic armor for 3% TR, right? You're gonna always use like a better exotic armor, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, it was just an annoyance. I'm glad the all exotic weapons and armor are featured, so people can use whatever they want without worrying about it. And also for exotic class items, they weren't featured, which didn't really make any sense, but they weren't, so that's good. Now the second point is actually very important, I think. I don't know this wasn't a thing when Edge of Fate shipped. Like to me, a big issue was that anything that wasn't a tier 5 was automatically a shard. Because like why would you not use a sorry, why would you care about getting a god roll tier 4 if you know it's not tier 5? And that was partially due to the fact that the new gear bonus damage and damage resistance was also tied to your tier. So anything that wasn't tier 5 was just doing less damage or giving you less DR, which made it like not as good. Now that thing is gone, I think. I'm pretty sure with Ashen Iron, all the bonuses are like flat and they are not based on tier anymore. So that's good. Like by that logic, I don't know, a tier 3 weapon or a tier 4 weapon could already be like good, even without making these second changes. But you still would miss out on like enhancing your like mod or enhancing your origin trait and stuff like that. And that kind of sucks. So this is a very good change. Like, in my opinion, this makes dropping things and like loot way more exciting because now if you drop a tier 3 and I'm like, damn, that's the exact perk combo I want, I can keep it. And I know that I will be able to make that roll like a god roll, so to say, by enhancing it. So I think that's very good. This is coming in Shadow and Order, which is like, you know, in what, 7-8 months? Like it's very far away, unfortunately. I'm glad they're doing it. Should have already been with Edge of Fate though, because I feel like it's a crucial part of a system with tiers, right? Like you don't want anything that's not tier 5 to automatically be worse. So this like makes you actually look at what you're dropping all the time, and it's a good thing that you're not like insta sharding or insta infusing things. All right, third point, Sunset featured gear score bonus. I don't understand this because like they clearly want to do all this thing about like featured gear because they want people to use new gear and to care about new gear, right? And while I don't think you should force it like they are, like I think new gear should simply be interesting, right? You can make good and cool new weapons, and you can make armor that are cool and have like look good and have like good set bonuses, and people will use them. So I don't think you need to do all of that. But if they really want to do that, I feel like some extra like score was an healthy way to do so, because it wasn't even like that impactful, right? So like I just don't get why they would get rid of this. I'd much rather them get rid of like the featured gear damage bonus and damage resistance bonus than like the score bonus. I feel like getting a bit of a score bonus in the portal for using new stuff was just like nice, right? So I'm not quite sure. Like I really just think among all the things that they added regarding new gear, this one was the one that annoyed me the least. Like it really, I never felt like very limited by that. So I'm not sure. Like yeah, the avant-garde modifier was annoying. Like if I wanted to run an Eager Edge Sword before like this recent one came out, but like that's different, right? Like I could still use old gear in the portal, and I farmed most of my like solo ops with old gear, and I was still getting like A scores. So like I don't know. Honestly, odd thing to take out. That's the one thing I would have kept to incentivize new gear among all the other things that they did. So interesting. Apparently, people were having issues with it. So whatever. I mean, if I don't really care either way. So like, if people didn't like it, I'm glad they're taking it out. But I don't understand. Now, more vault space. This is interesting because I don't think adding 100 or even 200 vault slots changes anything. Like there are so many armor sets now with set bonuses, so many combos of stats, so many weapons, since crafting is being like, pushed out of the game, that like vault space is never gonna be enough. Like we will need like 2,000 or 3,000 slots to have like an healthy amount of vault space in the current state of the game, and we are not gonna get that, of course. Like I'm predicting they're probably gonna add like 100 slots. How many are we at right now? Like 700? If they really go crazy, they go to like 1,000. I mean, that would be nice, but the point is, I think we need a permanent solution to this. I don't pretend to know what the permanent solution is, but I do think they need to do something about like storing your rolls. I don't know. Even just like, even being able to save like a roll of a certain weapon or armor in collections, and that's like your default roll, and then like you can pull it from collection with that roll as much as you want. Like, I don't know. I'm just like giving random ideas right now, but I feel like we need a permanent solution to vault space. Adding like 100 extra like slots is not what's gonna like solve the issue. It's just gonna make like towers load slower, most likely. Then improved sorting and filtering. I think that's good. That's good QL. Doesn't particularly matter because many people use DIM already, or other like third-party websites. But now that the vault is accessible in-game, even within activities, it's nice to have stuff like this in-game. I think that's like good changes. We're gonna have to see like what they do, but I would say these are like good changes. Now down here there is the interesting part, because like I'm gonna preface with saying that I don't know how this will go, right? I don't know how this will go. Maybe the game improves. Maybe the game doesn't improve. I don't pretend to know how the future will be, but the way they are wording this and some of the justifications they are giving are just pretty bad. Very bad, I should say. So, those two kind of go together, but they want to pose non-critical nerfs and balance changes. And this isn't only nerfs, by the way, at least the way it's worded, because balance changes, the school technically be like buffs and nerfs. And then they're buffing some supers and some subclasses. I mean, that's fine, right? I don't have any issues with that. Many of them do need buffs. I will let this part of the live stream from Bungie play and stop it at times when I need to comment. It's gonna be roughly like 3 minutes, but because there are like a bunch of things to comment about this.
Let's talk about sandbox balance. Y'all have been really taking a lot of the feedback to heart since the announce of quite a few nerfs and some balancing, and you have some new approaches to philosophy when it comes to this.
Yeah, so at the top here, one of the things we're doing is we're upgrading our internal process for kind of how we evaluate our buff and nerf policies, and also the timing of which when we go out and do those. And so a big part of that here through Renegade's launch is going to be non-critical balance changes are on pause right now. And so this is partially in reaction to obviously some of the sentiment around some of the changes we're making, but it's giving time for us to make sure that when we do start to do more balance updates a little more frequently again, we communicate honestly. We just need to do a better job about communicating about why we're changing something and some of the intent behind it.
Okay, so I'll stop right here for a second, but I think this is very problematic because they are basically saying that people are mad about like nerfs and stuff, and so they should like stop doing them. But I don't think that's the issue here. Like, if you guys remember the latest patch, I did make a video about this, but they nerfed a bunch of stuff that didn't need a nerf. And I want to like really stress that a non-critical nerf is very different. It's actually like almost the opposite of like something that doesn't need a nerf, right? Like a non-critical nerf could be like a certain weapon archetype being slightly overtuned, right? For example, this is like completely hypothetical, but if we were to be on a sniper meta, in a meta where like snipers were extremely strong, right? You could be like, oh, a 140 RPM snipers is like much better than a 72 RPM sniper. Maybe we like tune down the 140 RPM sniper a bit. You know, like this could be like a non-critical nerf, right? It's not one-shotting a boss. It's just making it so people are using an archetype much more than another archetype, right? But a non-critical nerf is very different from something that doesn't need a nerf, okay? Like chromatic fire doesn't need a nerf. If anything, it needs a buff, okay? Like, because no one is using this exotic. So like, the community is mad about your balance patches, not because you are nerfing things that aren't critical. The community is mad because you are nerfing things that doesn't need nerfs. And that is extremely different. Like, I can't stress this enough. I really cannot stress this enough. Another example here is like nerfing Tarabah with Peacekeepers. Dude, no one is using this, I promise you. It's not that good. So like, when you nerf something that, if anything, needs a buff, it either like needs to stay untouched or it needs a buff. The issue isn't that you are like too quick at nerfing the fan. Ooh, the issue is that you are just bad at evaluating what's an issue with the sandbox. Or even worse, you are thinking of like buffing something and you are ending up nerfing it. Because me personally, I don't think their intention was to nerf Chromatic Fire. But apparently they did, according to people that use the exotic. And I also don't think, and again, I hope they weren't like trying to really nerf Strongholds. Or I mean, again, Strongholds did have like a very weird playstyle. They probably needed to change, but when I read this thing, like I clearly understood that Strongholds were gonna be less useful. I still think like it's better to rework it because it was a boring exotic the way it was. But I did say in my video when I reviewed it that this change alone would have not made the exotic good. So like while a rework was good, it's clearly missing the mark because it's less defensive and it's not gaining anything offensively, really, right? So like, you know, also the game music started because I think I got kicked from the shooting range, whatever, I guess. Anyways, so I think the issue is that they're just making bad patches, like straight up. Many of the patches they're making are out of touch and they are not buffing things that need a buff, and then they are nerfing things that don't need a nerf, and you know, they're just like very lost. And you know, I don't know if the solution is to stop non-critical nerfs. Like if this actually like helps them focus on like making good patches, I guess that's fine. Like I just want to make it clear that the issue isn't nerfing things that aren't critical. The issue is when they are completely off the mark with patches. Like, you know, like that's just very different. Now, because you know, like I think they should keep buffing exotics that are underused. Like if an exotic is like not that good and it's been sitting in vaults for a while, they should do balance changes and reworks to make it better. But what they shouldn't do is like spend probably like a month of some dev to like fully rework it with like so many changes, and then the exotic is worse or like still terrible. Like that's not good, right? I just don't know if like stopping those patches is like what you need. I just think you need the patches to be good. If them taking more time allows them to like ship good patches that actually make sense when you read them, then I guess that's good. But like posing it can only like help short term maybe. Like it's not gonna be good long term, okay? I hope I explained my point better because I don't think I did very well yesterday on Twitter. But yeah, like, you know, like the game needs changes. Like the game is currently boring because we are in a objectively like boring sandbox. Like we're spamming supers. Basically all people are playing is like Titans with SMGs, or like before the changes everyone was on a crossbow. Like the sandbox is just boring. There is very little variety. If anything, you need more changes, not less. Obviously though, if the changes that come are like terrible changes and they like make the sandbox worse, then people aren't gonna be happy, then the game doesn't get better. And then people mistakenly think that, you know, the changes themselves, that them making changes is the issue, when it's not. The issue is them making bad changes. I really don't know how to fix that because like they have been making bad changes since Season of the Haunted and it's been a while. There are sometimes some good twabs with good changes, but mostly they're out of touch, and that's an issue. Like it's hard to fix when it happens so often. And then what else do I want to say? Oh, we can keep playing this real quick. Yeah, sure.
And the reason I speak about this, yeah, because you asked me this a couple times in our rehearsal, Dylan. It's like, what does non-critical mean? Sorry, I'm taking your words here.
No.
I'm just on a roll. We really want to make sure that we're still making balance changes, or you know, if we have to ban something for that epic raid race or the dungeon race that's going to happen with Renegades, right? The quality of that experience is incredibly important to us, and we know it's incredibly important to y'all. And so, again, we're putting a pause on nerfs and balance changes for now, but if we really need to change something because it's critical for those upcoming events, we'll make changes.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like there's some things where you watch somebody go on a Titan and kill a raid boss in 2 punches. Like that's critical. That needs to be toned down or balanced around. But other things, like we actually have a list here of we announced some tuning changes or nerfs that we're going to be reverting. Last week we were talking about Grand Overture and Queenbreaker.
Yeah.
We're reverting the changes there.
Yes.
And then we had some reworks to exotics like Stronghold, Chromatic Fire. We're going to be reverting those. And then as a part of this new initiative where we're looking at our philosophy, reevaluating how we do these things, we'll be looking how we approach it and how we communicate it.
Yes.
So
exactly.
cool. And then
So yeah, like I want to stress again, the issue isn't how they're communicating it. It doesn't matter how you communicate it to me. You can't justify nerfing Chromatic Fire. You can have literally any like reason. I just will disagree with you, right? Like, so, or like nerfing Controversies. This is probably a nerf, right? Like, when you make a bad patch, it doesn't matter how you communicate it. It doesn't matter how much in advance you say it. It doesn't matter what your philosophy is. If it's a bad patch, it's a bad patch. Like, that's how I feel about it. So, like, they are phrasing it a lot like, oh, we need to, like, get better at communicating. Like, I mean, that could help, but that's not the core issue, right? If people are mad, it's also because the patches are just bad. And then another reason why this whole thing worries me is because, well, this sounds to me like they're almost gonna stop with balance patches. And people are like, oh no, they're only stopping with the critical ones. But from their examples, to them, something critical is a Titan double tapping a raid boss, which is most likely a bug if that happens, right? And it's like, if that's your bar for critical, then that basically means you're not changing anything else. Because, I mean, grapple melees Hunter that are basically hitting like triple the DPS of any other damage option in the game are clearly not critical for them because they are not getting touched. So if that's not critical and that's like completely game breaking, then what's critical, you know? Like at that point, this basically sounds like, yeah, we're basically not doing balance patches for the next like couple months, and I think that's just bad. That's why like I reacted the way I reacted, because everything screams like a bad decision.
I honestly, like, we've been talking about nerfs and all that. Let's talk about buffs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we've got some buffs. We've been working with the gameplay team around supers and subclasses that are going to be coming. Some with Ash and Iron here in October, but then also in December with Renegades. And I think you've been talking with them a little more closely actually in the last 24 hours.
Big thank you to Ben Womack, Eric Smith, Sandbox team. A couple notes, like we saw a thread where folks were saying, hey, the original 3 supers that launched with Destiny 11 years ago, happy birthday.
Yeah.
They feel a bit undertuned. And I saw a note where it's like Word of Dawn, Titan Bubble. That needs to be brought up. Golden Gun. I know Warlocks are getting some abilities changes too.
Turrets.
So
turrets changes coming very soon.
And grenades and other things too outside of turrets. So we will have a full list over the coming weeks, and honestly, it may build. We need to get our roadmap together so we know exactly which hot fixes, updates they're going to be rolling out in. But yeah, we'll be as transparent as possible with you. So to really end it and get into the awesome Ash and Iron content, thank you again to everybody that's been giving us feedback. Thank you to everybody that's been playing and diving into all the changes. We know some need work, and we're going to be doing that. We've been listening, and now we're getting through the planning stages, and we're executing on a bunch of changes over the next few updates and beyond Renegades. So, Robbie, thank you for joining.
All right, I was waiting for like a certain part where they talk about changes that they're reverting. I couldn't find it. So they're gonna buff Bubble apparently. I mean, that's very good. Bubble is terrible. Buffing Golden Gun, which is questionable, but I guess buffing the non-Night Oak one is fine. There is another part of this, I don't know where this is, where they are talking about reverting some of those changes to, like, you know, so to say, please the community. So basically they're reverting the Stronghold Titan changes, I think the Chromatic Fire changes, and the nerfs that they did to like Queen's Breaker, Grand Overture, and stuff like that, which I guess it's fine, but I mean, again, as I said in the other video, all those changes weren't good changes. So yeah, of course reverting them is good, but if they were actually good changes, then reverting them wouldn't be good, right? Like, obviously, as I said, like Queen's Breaker is too strong compared to other linears, but you should just buff other linears for the most part. Nerfing Queen's Breaker that much is goofy. Yeah, I mean, I hope I said everything. Like, I just wanted to like comment on, yeah, that slide mainly because I think it was pretty important. It just like, it just sounds like the community is mad about bad changes, and they are, and the reaction is like, oh, we're gonna stop making changes, when in my opinion the reaction should be, we should make better changes, right? And I know they're not gonna fully stop making changes, right? I'm sure they're gonna still make some balance patches, but even just saying that their solution is like slowing down on it just sounds so goofy to me. If their reasoning for it is, oh, we need to communicate them better. If they had delivered the message very differently, like if they were like, yo, we are making some bad patches lately, we need more time to like actually like think of what we're doing, and like so that next time we like patch something, we like do it properly, I would have received that way better personally. The way they phrased it was more like as they were doing good patches, just not communicating them properly, and I just disagree with it. That's why the little rant, I guess, because I don't know, like, bro, we can't be nerfing Chromatic Fire in 2025. I don't even care about it. It's just like such a waste of that time. Or like all those changes they've been to Maida, like, where is it? There's like a whole paragraph about Maida, and the weapon is still like terrible. Like, why are you spending so much time on it and the weapon is still terrible? And it's like, and again, the issue isn't that you should stop doing it. Like, you shouldn't not buff Maida if the gun is bad, but just do it properly, right? Like, I consider this a bad change because the gun is still terrible. So why did you put time into it? Like, I don't think the act of reworking an exotic or buffing an exotic is bad, right? Again, if them taking like posing it makes them do good patches, all good, then that's good. Then I agree with their philosophy now. If them taking more time to do those changes means they're gonna communicate me better why this is a good rework for Mida, then I disagree, because it doesn't matter what you communicate to me. I'm not using Mida, right? I hope I made my point clear. I'm sorry if I repeated myself. Let's see what happens. I don't know. The whole, like, the start of the Vidoc with Renegade stuff looked pretty cool. The second part, to me, sounded a bit goofy, but we will see what happens. I'm not really too worried because the game is kind of cooked, so I guess it probably won't get much worse. But let's see what happens for Renegades. Let's see what happens this epic raid, the dungeon race that's gonna come in Renegades. I hope at least those are good, but besides that, I hope they do something to make the core of the game feel better. There are also so many other issues with the game right now, like leveling is terrible and all of that, but the video is probably already like way more than I said, and I probably lied when I said this one is gonna be shorter. I'm sorry. Maybe eventually I'll get better at that. Or maybe I'll just preface with saying the video will be long. Anyways, I'm ending the recording now. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.